Welcome back to the Dynasty Rewind YouTube channel. My name is Bob Van. Today I'm joined by Nate Christian at Nate NFL on Twitter. Nate, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm here to talk about literally one of my favorite players in Dynasty Fantasy Football.
Awesome. I'm pumped to hear about it. This is an odd case because we're actually kind of in consensus on this guy for a change. Usually we're butting heads on players, but today we're talking LaViska Shenault and his prospects in his sophomore season. And basically, I'm just going to kick it off to you. What do you think? What do you think of his prospects this year? How's he going to do? Make your case for the guy.
Yeah, so coming out of Colorado, I was a huge fan of LaViska Shenault in the 2020 draft class. You had big names like CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy at the top, and we've seen Justin Jefferson and some of those other guys in that class, real deep class, come out and ball out. But LaViska Shenault was my wide receiver 3 coming out of college. I just saw the body type, 6'2", 220, and the power that he had once he had the ball in his hands. He is a guy that was physical at the point of a catch, like an ex-receiver. He was played in the slot, outside. He was in special teams. He was in the wildcat. He was used all around. So the versatility was there, but also the size and the ability to actually play receiver and not just be a gadget player was there. And I just saw it all coming together. And at first, when he landed with the Jaguars, I was kind of like, man, that's not a great landing spot. Who knows what's going on there with their offense or their team in general. But things changed very quickly. And now Trevor Lawrence is his quarterback. I cannot be more excited about that. And Trevor Lawrence is going to love LaViska Shenault because Trevor Lawrence at Clemson loved throwing near the line of scrimmage. The Clemson offense was a very screen-based, lots of close routes. And LaViska Shenault, while he has that deep speed and that ability to, make those catches down the field, he's used really around the line of scrimmage. He has a low ADOT. And I just think he's in the best position of any of these receivers to really take off with Trevor Lawrence. DJ Chark, he's in a contract year. Urban Meyer has had great things to say about him. I'm not too excited for his prospects. I think he could still have a good year, but he's most likely off the team next year. Marvin Jones is a solid player, but on the wrong side of 30 years old. So really, LaViska Shenault is the guy there for the future. And I think it really starts happening this year. He's really impressed at training camp already. People are talking about not only his size and the ability that he has to get down the field and make contested catches, but just the fact that he's being a true receiver at training camp, making the hard catches, posting up receivers, getting separation. And you love to hear that because, taking that step up from a gadget player to a true X receiver, that's a huge, huge jump up and, is going to lead to great results in fantasy football. So LaViska Shenault is my guy for this year. My guy coming out of college. I think this is the year he really breaks out and becomes one of the top young receivers in the game.
Yeah, man, I think you nailed it. I think the only concern I've ever had with LaViska Shenault is just his injury history, and it's just kind of riddled with soft tissue stuff. Not anything too serious, I don't think, but just those little things that just keep good players off the field and that we've seen in the past. Like, not that this is the only reason, but like with N'Keal Harry, injuries kind
Yeah.
of derailed him right away, right out of the gate. So that'd be my only concern. And that did kind of rear its ugly head last year with some injuries in the season, but nothing crazy again, just soft tissue stuff. So I'm worried about his training. I'm hoping that training staff can kind of get a regimen together where he's more safe more weeks than not. And he's not somebody you're kind of always on the fence with. The one great thing about Viska this year is I still think he's fairly cheap in all formats. In best ball, usually 6th, 7th round, probably on the top end. Dynasty depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to
Yeah.
Nate, probably going to be pretty expensive. If you're talking to me, fairly expensive. Talking to any one of us, I think pretty much everybody on the Dynasty Rewind team likes him. But that's always been my biggest concern. But you touched on a good point that outside of, Chark is there, who knows what's going on with him. It's been
Yeah.
mixed reports out of camp. I've seen some negative. I've seen some good. I've seen some stuff where Chark wasn't used well last year. It didn't put forth great effort all season long. And then I've seen stuff, like you said, with Shenault, that out of all the receivers, he took the biggest leap forward last year. So it's one of those things where I think there's definitely the opportunity for him to break out and do some crazy things. And that offense should be miles ahead of what it was last year just by having Trevor Lawrence, having ETN in that mix too. However, he's going to factor in if it's just as a running back or if it's as a wide receiver, take your pick. So, I mean, that offense is set to take a big step forward. regardless of what happens with Chark. And I think Jones is an awesome add to that team, having a veteran presence too there that, he's always kind of wherever he's gone, he's made people around him better. And I think that's an underrated aspect of the whole Shenault situation. But man, I think you nailed it. Again, my only negative or my only downside is the injuries. And I think that's something when it comes to soft tissue stuff, I think you can get over that with a good regiment. And I think with the team they have there now, that for strength and conditioning, they brought in one of the great Ohio State great linebackers in. So he should be, hopefully in a better place in that regard. But, all the other pieces are kind of falling into place for him. And I, like I said, for me and you to be on the same page for something is pretty rare. So we had to get on here to talk about it. Nate, do you have anything else to add about LaViska?
Not too much other than the fact that I think a way that LaViska Shenault really has that breakout year for fantasy football is touchdowns. And that is a huge difference in that offense from last year to this year. They're going to score a lot more touchdowns, and Shenault is going to be one of the best guys in the red zone for that offense. So he'll be a great play in redraft. He'll be a great play in dynasty and even DFS. I think he's going to have a lot of great weeks.
Yeah, amen to that. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate having you. This is a great chat. Like I said, anytime that we agree on something, I had to get you on. So appreciate you stopping by. At NFL on Twitter, at @BobVan_IDP on Twitter if you want to talk IDP. I get into everything, though. I don't just do IDP. But that is it from us today. I hope you go and buy some LaViska Shenault shares or at least start drafting him.
Buy now.
Don't draft him too early because we don't want that ADP to go up. But, draft him at value. Draft him with confidence because I think he's a guy who can really break out this year. Nate, thanks for hopping on so much.
Thank you.
Everybody else, thanks for watching. Please leave a like. Comment down below if you agree with our LaViska Shenault take. If you disagree, I'd love to hear some points on why he might not be a guy who's set to break out. Check out these other videos, and we will see you in the next one.